This programme is brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com and Praga, New Generation. The fifth race weekend of the Supercar Challenge held at the circuit of Zolder in Belgium, the former home of the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll bring you the action from the complete race weekend. Race 9 on Saturday, race 10 on Sunday, with separate races for SuperGT, GTB and GTs, and the Supersport, Sport 1 and Sport divisions. Well, this July Zolder meeting has always been a favourite with drivers and crowds alike. The last 3 years it was called the Zolder Super League, but with Super League formula being abandoned, it's now been renamed the Zolder Superprix weekend, a name that's been revived by the Supercar Challenge. And the weather was typically July, dry and wet, unpredictable. Almost 70 competitors on the entry list, an international mix. Dutch, English, Belgian, Austrian and French drivers making up the fields for all the races. But before we get into the action, a chance to catch up with the man responsible for reviving the Superprix name, Dick van Elk. Here we are at the Zolder Superprix, he says. We've organised the event ourselves. We've got 2 groups from the Supercar Challenge and support classes from Holland as well. The HDI Girling Dutch GTs, Suzuki Swift Cup and the Clio Cup. Now they all normally race at Zandvoort. Well, Saturday, sun shining. I have to say we did expect worse weather, but it's important that it stays good. Last time out at Spa, it rained cats and dogs and it was dreadful. It's not great for spectators, really, is it? So we're hoping for a great race weekend for everybody.
Het moet gewoon een gezellig weekend zijn voor iedereen en het zonnetje werkt er uitstekend aan mee.
Well, the cars coming out onto the grid with Bob Herber's BMW Z4 on pole for the first race from the Lotus 211 of Luc de Kock. On board in 5th place with Peter Hovenaars. Running down to the first corner for the first time. This is 8th place starter myself and Rijswijk. And it's the BMW that has the advantage into the first corner. The Lotus looking around the inside. Peter Hovenaars moving up into P4 for the first left-hander. A little further back. And Ferry Monster in the Seat has moved up from 7th place very quickly. Well, he's already up to 4th. And the Lotus there looking down the inside. That's a great move from Art Bosman. And he gets by 3:27, the BMW on the dirt. That's Andre de Vries. He started that M3 in 3rd place. The car he shares with Peter Stocks on board now. Coming back against the Lotus, using the BMW's power to drag back again. Bob Herber's BMW Z4 leading with an advantage over Luc de Kock in the Lotus 211. Well, Martin Lanting driving that BMW Z4 later in the race, further back. Watch the White Lotus, Guillaume Schultz. Hard braking down here into the chicane. Oh, and Ronald van Loon in the BMW makes contact. And he's slow off the corner. Looks like some damage there. Bob Herber continues to pull away. Luc de Kock putting space between himself and the BMW of Peter Hovenaars in 3rd. Jan Lammers in 4th in the orange and white BMW Z4 silhouette car. The Dutch veteran back behind the wheel and chasing the man we ride with. This is the battle for 2nd. Oh, the BMW carrying a lot of speed. Goes around the Lotus 211. And that is a change for position. Luc de Kock down to 3rd and Jan Lammers will give him a tough time as well. Well, here is Nico Been. He's the leader in Sport 2 in his Renault Clio. And with the red nose, there's Peter Hovenaars. Now behind him is Jan Lammers in the orange BMW. So problems for Luc de Kock, and there he is. He's gone off, in fact. So de Kock kicking up the dust. On board again with Andre de Vries, the car he shares with Peter Stocks, who'll drive it in the second part of the race. De Vries co-drives 2 BMWs. Oh, lots of dust on the circuit, but is it the car that's causing the problems? Do you know, it looks like it might be. He's down to P7 now. Well, the Lotus continues, but is Luc de Kock entirely happy with its handling? I'm sure he can't be if he's been off the road. Pit stop window between the 25th and 35th minute of the 1-hour race. Must remain stationary for 60 seconds. Jan Lammers comes down the pit road. Well, to help control costs, there are no tyre changes allowed, but that has been causing problems. Well, Ferry Monster saying the tyres are overheating because it's so hot. Very hot in the car as well, but I had a nice stint, got some places at the start, lost a few later on, but brought the car in where we started. Hopefully Robin can get us onto the podium. I picked up a few places, says Jonas de Kemper. The brakes have suffered a lot though, and the front tyres, a lot of degradation, lost a lot of grip at the front, and because of the heat of the track, unfortunately, but managed to keep third in the Seat class. Well, I got stuck behind a white Ginetta, says Pascal Nellisongrad. Cost me about 5 laps. Gained 4 places by getting by 4 set Supercopers, but my stint was too short. Well, too short as well for Guillaume Schultz. He stopped just at the exit of the pit lane. Gets it fired up again though, so very fortunate. And he'll finish in 3rd place. With Marcel van Rijswijk, still in 8th place. Sharing with Andre de Vries, who's also co-driving the M3 GT4 of Peter Stocks. Well, most of the front runners now have changed their drivers, with Peter Hovenaars, who's driving on his own, and that is the race leader. Bob Herber started that BMW Z4. Martin Lanting has put it off, going wide in the first chicane, and Hovenaars goes through to the lead of the race in his 1 Series GTR. Koen Bokaerts in 3rd place in his 3 Series GTR. So our new race leader comes by the pits. The 1 Series is out front with Peter Hovenaars. Oh, and there's trouble. That's Richard Fern's Ginetta. Now he's crashed on the exit of the Jochen Rindt corner, and that may well be the result of contact. Ooh, big lock up there from the Honda, and that was Michael Verhagen. The end of his race in Sport 1, he goes off and almost catches out the leader. Well, lots of action up and down the field, but unfortunately Michael Verhagen not going to be any further part of it. Guillaume Schultz in the Lotus battling with Marcel van Berlo in the Ford Focus Silhouette. This is the challenge for 3rd place in the Sport 1 class. He goes through at the X chicane. Well, with the close battles in all the classes, it means that the front runners really have to keep their eyes on the traffic. Imagine trying to find a way through these two in one of the front running cars. Battle shaping up for 6th place in Supersport. On board with Andre de Vries, the yellow Z4 in front. That's Jan van der Silk, and he goes through into 6th spot. And it looks like a challenge for the lead as well. Martin Lanting in the Z4 dives by Peter Hovenaars. Hovenaars struggling for grip in the 1 Series. And his problems are about to get worse because in the background, Koen Bokaerts is closing the gap as well. Dropped down the order a little at the start, but that 3 Series GTR looking very strong at the moment. Perhaps that's the advantage of having a more sorted car. The 3 Series GTR relatively perhaps a better known proposition, and he is closing down on the lead pair. The man who really looks vulnerable in the 1 Series just in front is Peter Hovenaars. And indeed, now it is Bokaerts all over the back of Martin Lanting for the lead of the race. This is going to be very close. He is fast running out of time though. And at the checker flag, it's a near photo finish. Peter Stocks ending up in 8th place in the car that Andre de Vries started in 3rd spot. Well, looks like it was hot work for the drivers and especially for the tyres. Martin Lanting saying Bob pushed too hard on the tyres in the first stint, so I had very little grip. It made it very exciting for the crowds, I think. I was sliding all over the place and had to really crawl to the finish, but it was worth it. We finished first, so very happy. Bob Herber looking a little bit bashful there, but nevertheless, they were still the race winners, the first race of the weekend. And in the Supersport class, Robin and brother Ferry Monster started their weekend with victory too. Andre de Vries was very quick in the BMW M3 GT4. I closed up on lap after lap. He was very quick, but I kept on pushing and managed to get by him in the end. Well, unsurprisingly, with that fine overall result, the brothers also topped the Supercopa class for the Seat Leons. And they also head the championship standings. They're having a strong season. Eric van der Munkhoff, our Sport 1 winner. From the start up to the first corner, I led the class. Then I got a bit held up. And I had to let a couple of the other guys go through. Didn't really want to take any risks because you can't win a race on the first lap. But I set a good pace and managed to claim the win. Indeed he did. Confirmation of the Sport 1 result there. Well, second for John van der Voort and Priscilla Spielman means they are closing up on the man who finished in third, Guillaume Schultz, narrowing the gap at the top of the championship table. In the Sport 2 class, it was Nico Bain who stood on the top of the podium. Tough race, he said, really hot in the car. Tyres had a tough time, but my brother's done a great job. Car's so fantastic. I've got to say thanks a lot to him. And Klaus and Patrick couldn't make it this weekend, but very happy, really looking forward to tomorrow's race. So Nico Bain's Renault Clio, the class of the field in the Sport 2 category. Third place for points leader Rob Neiman means that he's lost a little bit of ground, but Nico Bain, fourth position, just moving up the order a bit. So stay with us after the break. We'll have Saturday's race in the Super GT and GT divisions. It's action all the way. This programme is brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com and Praga, New Generation. Fifth race weekend of the Supercar Challenge at Zolder in Belgium, as the drivers getting ready for the first race of the weekend in the GT and Super GT categories, and the weather still remains fine. Well, the power of the Corvette put Alex van Toff and Diederik Seithoff on pole from Robert de Graaf and Philip Ribbons' Dodge Viper, with Rick Abrecht third, the best of the Ferraris, Jan Verslijs in fourth spot. Getting ready for the rolling start of the first race, the Corvette and the Viper wheel to wheel through the tight chicane. On board with Philip Ribbons, second on the grid, and there goes the Corvette, Alex van Toff. Easing in front, he's got the inside line in the black and yellow machine, and through into the lead he goes. Right beside there, look at that, Rick Abrecht with the yellow nose. The Ferrari of Jan Verslijs holds on to the inside line. Ribbons has a little look there as well, can't squeeze through. And Verslijs in third place, right behind us now as we ride on board in the Viper. He's already got by Rick Abrecht, who's dropped down to fourth. Koreuser in the rainbow-coloured Marcos there, already up to 6th position. Ron Marshall leading GT in the Aston. Oh no, under pressure. And the BMW, the black car, Pim van Riet has got by, but in the background, there's a clash. Carlo Kaya. Onboard replay. Oh my goodness, looks like he's lost it on cold tyres. Well, here comes the leader across the line, Alex van Toff. Yellow flags are out though. Recovery vehicle pulling back. Oh, Dirk Schultz, the Porsche, spun on the first corner of the race. That's bad news. And Jan van der Kooi is out as well, taking the engine cover off the Lotus Exige. That is not a good sign. Well, he was 4th in the GT class. He's stranded at the side of the track, and the organisers scramble the safety car. So as they go green once more, Alex van Toff in the Corvette from Philip Ribben. Ribben having a really strong look, but in the background, look, Ferrari battle. Jan Verslijs been out-dragged, but Lonchin got around Rick Albrecht and Jan Verslijs. He was 5th, he's now 3rd place in front of us. And here comes Koreuser right up the inside, and he elbows his way past Verslijs to go 4th. Dutch veteran having a really good run here. Into the pit lane, Barry van Elk. The Mosler has got problems. Battle for 3rd shaping up in the background. Koreuser with the headlights on up the inside of Bert Lonchin. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Oyser just very wide. He's on the dirt. And he makes it. Oh, but Lonchin's gone off.
Hij kwam iets te langzaam het rechtstuk op, kon ernaast komen.
Well, Cole saying Bert was very slow coming on the start-finish. We got side by side. He didn't want to give it up. And we didn't touch, but we were both unbalanced. Yeah, he overshot his braking, says Bert. If I'd have turned in, we'd have both gone off. I had to go through the gravel, lost a couple of places. Well, one incident, 2 views as ever. And from behind, Peter Verslijs probably was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Van Toff leading from Ribbons, Oyser in 3rd, Verslijs in 4th, and Rick Albrecht in the black and yellow Corvette in 5th place. On board with Philip Ribbons in 2nd place, really pushing hard, trying to get by Alex van Toff. All trouble here. Who's gone off into gravel? It's one of the Cup cars. That is Steve Matheson, the Belgian driver. And he looks pretty well beached. Meanwhile, in the GT class, the Dodge Viper of Barry Mason is leading. And Pim van Riet in the BMW just behind. He's in 2nd place. Aston Martin, Ron Marshall in 3rd spot in the GTs. Koreuser with the headlights on right behind us. This is the battle for 2nd in Super GT. And Oyser lunging down into the first chicane. Once you claim the inside line, it's very hard to defend. He goes through up to 2nd. And Rick Albrecht having a look as well. The Viper offline, perhaps with dirty tyres, not slowing down. Through goes Albrecht. So Philip Ribbons dropping from 2nd to 4th there. Alex van Toff's already gone. Deglo knows on Oyser's car in 2nd place. Pit stop window is open for the compulsory stops. Driver change, but they race all the way through the hour on the same tyres, letting out a little bit of pressure perhaps, just to balance the heat.
Het ging eigenlijk wel goed en zeker
But Lodge is saying pretty good until the safety car. My tyres had the right temperature after that, so I was able to race hard. But not good enough though. In comes Danny Werkman in the Corvette, and looks like their race is over. Well, he bails out. Everything was fine up to the pit stops. After I got back on track, I noticed that we'd lost a couple of cylinders, so that looks like the end of the race. On board with Robert de Graaf in the Viper. Oh! Through the gravel trap at the first chicane, chasing Bert Lonchin. Oh, that's a mistake he can ill afford. GTB class battle, Errol Artan in the Porsche and Kees Kreiner in the Aston Martin. That's the battle for 4th place. And this is the battle for the lead of the GT class. Ron Marshall in the Aston Martin, still looking strong after the stops. But Bert de Huys, who took over that White Viper, he is struggling. On board with Robert de Graaf, now in 4th place. And Arie van der Herk is closing in the Corvette. There is the Corvette right behind him. Headlights ablaze. And the gap is coming down fast. Meanwhile, the low-slung Marcus of Korreuser leading the race. Well, Kor's been racing that Marcos for something going on 15 years in FIA GTs and all sorts of other GT championships. Really knows his car well. It's like second nature to him. Further back, battle for 7th. Roger Grals in the Mosler. Gets by. Diedrich Saithoff in the Corvette also gets by the back marker. Oh, and that's Bert de Huys. No brakes. He's off in the gravel trap. Looks like he's got right up to the tyre wall there. Left lots of dust hanging in the air. Werner van Herk in the Mazda, 3rd in the GTB class. Dan Meyer in the Porsche is 4th. The BMW, a GT class car, is a lap down. And Dan Meyer challenging Werner van Herk in the Mazda. Oh, into the chicane. Van Herk trying to turn in, but the Porsche's there. Still there. Still there. And the Mazda silhouette just gets its nose back in front. Well, Meyer is not giving up. Porsche driver looks into the first corner. Ooh, again, it's a close squeeze. It's not the widest of tracks here, Zolder. But he gets through. So that's a change for 3rd in GTB for the moment at least. And this black and green Porsche, that's the car that's 2nd in the class. Rob and Charlie Freins. Plenty of variety here. Korreuser's Marcos, the lovely Lamborghini as well. And here's our GTB class leader. That is the Ford Mondeo silhouette of Jackie van der Ende. Having another good run in the V8 Ford. Checkered flag for Korreuser, the race winner. Rick Abrecht 2nd in the Corvette. And Jan Verslijs in 3rd place in his Ferrari. From Robert de Graaf and Arie van der Herk, it's going to be close. Van der Herk taking a run to the flag, but the Viper just gets 4th spot. Well, Korreuser, laughing and joking after the race, claims another win in the Marcos. All about staying close and waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Trying to outthink your rivals and attack, that's the strategy. And it worked as well. Korreuser on top of the pile, Rick Abrecht in 2nd. Jan Verslijs claiming 3rd in round 9 of the championship. Well, of course, Korreuser not a regular in the championship, but the regulars are like this in the standings. And look at all those 4 Corvettes rammed into the top 4 positions. And in the GT class, Ron Marshall takes victory in the Aston Martin. Everybody was very close behind the safety car, he said. Some good overtaking, a little bit of blocking to try and keep people behind in the end, but we had some good battles out there. Confirmation of the result then, the Aston Martin driver taking victory. Jared de Weert in 2nd and Barry Mason in 3rd spot in their Vipers. But it's the BMW of Henk Thies and Pim van Vliet that is still the series leader, from Barry Mason in 2nd spot, just 7 points behind. It's a big day for Jackie van der Ende as he claims victory. He said, my first win finally in the Supercar Challenge after 2 years of trying. What more can you ask for? Well, Jackie van der Ende, Nelson van der Poel winning in the Silhouette V8 Ford Mondeo. Taken a while for them to get there, but finally they put it all together. Rennie Wynants and Charlie Freins are the series leaders though. Aral Artan tying them. Kees Kreiner just 3 points behind. It's very close at the top. Stay with us for more action coming up after the break. Sunday's races. This programme is brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com and Praga New Generation.